2. Wow, that was fast.
Oh, that was fast. All right, ladies and gents, happy Friday.
Whoop,
It is another fantastic Friday, or if you're part of our
Beautiful.
5 a.m. club, we use other words for, Friday. So here we go. I got a cool guest for you guys today. Check out some of the cool stuff he does if you're into content creation.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business and social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business
Bros.
All right, James, it is that time. Time for the fire intro.
Here we go. Well, San Diego's back to normal. It is 75 and breezy out there, baby. You gotta love it. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about to get a little bit hotter right here on the Business Bros Pod. Our guest today is a phenomenal businessman, having already built and sold 2 7-figure e-commerce companies. His latest feat has brought him to a whole new level as he has created the first app for virtual thematic fiestas. Instead of a regular chat or Zoom call, this app allows users to create a virtual event complete with RSVP invitations, and when people join that fiesta, they are blown away by the app features that range from TikTok to Eventbrite and House Party. This app is growing in popularity, so don't be surprised to see it advertised for you soon. Joining us today is the host of The Next Big Pivot podcast and the CEO of the Fiesta App. Welcome to the show, Bernado De La Vega.
Bernardo, welcome to the program, my friend.
Wow, that's quite an intro. I've never had an intro like that, so this is already exciting.
Nice, man. I love it. That's what we're all about, dude. That's what we're all about. Trying to be a little bit different and have some fun on the show. So let me tell our audience real quick. I was a guest on Bernardo's podcast.
Yeah.
He was actually showing me how his Fiesta app works. So now he gets to see what Streamyard is like. And I'm like, dude, you got some great stuff in this Fiesta app. Mm-hmm. It makes things so much easier to function. Tell me a little bit about what you thought of behind the scenes in creating it. And then we can talk about some of the cool highlights and features that the app has. Yeah.
So the idea behind Fiesta was, I think obviously one of the platforms that is doing really well right now is TikTok, right? Mm-hmm. It's blown up. And so on one side you have TikTok, and then on the other side you have this massive sort of urgent need and sort of the massive sort of pivot with EdTech, right? And then you have podcasting, which is really interesting space. To me, as you know, and you guys are an example of this, the best content that is being created right now is on podcasts. It's not on CNN and Fox. And it's not in the universities with some sort of random lecture, and it's not on some sort of like all these other social media platforms because they're, you have shorter content. It's really on podcasts. So I was thinking, okay, what if there was a platform that would bring the fun elements of TikTok with the awesome knowledge of podcasts. Therefore, we're creating this micro content. So in order to do that, we came up with a plan where with our platform, you can record your podcast. So instead of using Zoom or Squashcast or StreamYard, you use Fiesta to record your podcast. And say, for example, every time, when I was interviewing you, every time you said something interesting, I would press the highlight button. It grabs the last 1 minute of the clip. So at the end of the recording, you have a 30-minute recording, and then 5 or 6 1-minute clips. So then your clips are all ready to go. You add a caption and the subtitles, and then now they're ready to put all over the social media platforms. And this is really cool. This is where the kind of like the TikTok for podcast comes into play. And I'm just gonna show it really quick. You have this, right? So it's like this like TikTok for podcasts, right?
Oh, nice.
So it's like all these like 30-second clips, and then these you can share to all the social platforms. So that is the idea behind it, to grab TikTok elements with like awesome podcast clips, and also more from a podcast creator standpoint, to make it really easy. So then now you don't have to spend 1 hour, an hour and a half, or pay somebody $100, $200 to like cut your clips for you. they're pretty much done as soon as you're done with your interview. And yes, somebody asked, yes, it is on the App Store. If you just go to Fiesta Podcast, you'll find it. And so, yeah, so that's what we brought in some sort of cool elements, and we are just launched this week. But for all those of you who want to really, because the biggest thing is, and from a podcast creator standpoint, is the biggest problem is how do you promote your podcast, right? That's the biggest thing. You launch your podcast, you figure out the audio, but how do you promote your podcast? So that's what Fiesta is kind of like what it is in a nutshell.
Dude, there's a lot of amazing features, dude. When I was on your show and you were showing me, I mean, literally the way we recorded that episode was through the Fiesta app, right? Yep. And so I'm sitting in the lobby and he tells me before the show, he's like, hey, if there's anything that you think is cool, just hit the highlight button. I didn't quite understand what that was until we got into the conversation, right? So this is what's really cool about this app, Ham, and this blows me away. So one of the reasons why you use Streamyard is because I could do a bunch of cool stuff like that. Fiesta app is getting to that point. But one of the things that I still have to do after the fact is I need to create small clips, small little bite-sized clips. A 30-minute podcast is just a huge amount of content, too much for most people. You're only really listening to a 30-minute podcast if you're like exercising, you're like running, walking, maybe cleaning your house or on a drive or something like that, right? For the most part, people are consuming our content in small bite-sized chunks, right? They're the little 30-second, 1-minute clips that you see on Instagram. So I take this 30-minute piece of content and I still got to manually myself go back and find those segment pieces. So I got to re-listen to my show, cut up some pieces, and then I take those bite-sized chunks. But what you're doing, Bernardo, tell me a little bit about that highlight app. How does that help me save time so I don't have to go back and do all these editing?
Yeah, so basically is just, you ask your guest a question, and every time your guest says something interesting, you literally just press the highlight button and it'll grab the last 1 minute of the recording. So at the end of the recording on the app and on the website, you have all these, 5 or 6 1-minute video clips. How does the highlight button work? You just click it and it's grabbing the last 1 minute of the recording of the podcast. So therefore you have multiple pieces of content. At the end, you have the full recording, and then, like I said, the multiple 1-minute clips, which you can then easily just edit and then add caption and subtitle, and then it's all ready, right? But there's no sort of going back or like, okay, he said something here, I think he said something there. It's all already done, and it just makes the sort of the content creation much faster.
Can you customize that? Like, maybe I don't want it to be a minute, maybe I want it to be 2 minutes or 30 seconds or anything like that.
Yeah. So right now it's 1 minute, but yeah, we can increase it. But yes, if you do 1 minute, then that you can edit that as you want. But we can certainly increase that to more. That's just sort of in our back end. Nice. But yeah.
See, and that's awesome because now you have those clips. And here's the thing about where it's at. This is an app that you have on your phone. So when you hit that highlight button, those little clips are sitting in your phone ready for you to share. So when you're talking about adding the little banner, in other words, like for our show right now, visibly on our show, if you're watching it, there's that hit the like button sitting at the top. Right? That's the banner that's right above me right here, right? So when we're talking about the clips, you're saying that what we're going to do is take our whole video clip and all we got to do is add that banner. Whatever that 1 minute clip is highlighting, that's what we want to put on that banner, and then we're set to go, right? That's it. Other than that, you can share it directly from the app.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you share it directly from the app. That's correct.
So tell me where you hooked up to. How easy is it for me to share my content once I create it? How easy is it for me to share it to multiple platforms?
Yeah, it's just like TikTok, right? Like there's a share button, and they'll give you all the different options. They'll say, hey, like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and you share. The only one that you can't share because they don't allow it is LinkedIn. But in that case, you just download it and then post it, right? But all the other ones is literally just one click. LinkedIn is just being a pain, and they don't for some reason they're not allowing that right now. But it's super because there's obviously the download option, so you download it and then you just post it on LinkedIn. But
it's also the only place we can't go live.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's an application process, dude, and then we've applied like 6 times. Well, I've applied like 6 times on behalf of the Business Bros podcast, on behalf of my own personal LinkedIn, and still we haven't gotten approved. So it's kind of crazy, the application process. I don't know how it works. James actually has the premium version of LinkedIn because we're building his show, the Insurance Bro Show, on the back of LinkedIn since it's very industry specific, right? And so we're trying to get that application process, maybe the premium, maybe when you pay for it, maybe it comes through. I have no idea how it works, but you're right. You know, and here's the thing about what your app does, and it's like anything else. Time is of the essence, right? There's only so much time in a day for me to go back and cut and create and clip and post. So the fact that it's sitting in one spot makes it so much easier. And you guys have stuff that you're working on top of what you already have, right? So what are the next steps that you're looking for in to build in the app?
Yeah, so for next week, we're definitely working on, so we can definitely have people who like StreamYard to just come over to our platform. Is definitely the integration to, like, you can live stream to LinkedIn, and obviously Facebook and YouTube, right? Those are the biggest ones. Right now, quick question: which one do you guys obviously do Facebook? What else is just Facebook?
We're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch.
Oh, Twitter and Twitch as well. Okay. So right now for us is so Twitch we're also adding as well. Because that's also obviously a very good streaming platform. That's what is coming next week. So we'll get that done. And then a lot of things that we're going to be working on is sort of adding more sort of like some really cool sort of like editing the like advanced editing that we're working on. But overall, like in the next like few months, what we want to do is create some really cool tools around like community. Right. So one is you'll be able to message each other. Right. So just like like if you were on like TikTok, so you easily message other podcasters. You're like, oh, I like that, and you can message the podcaster. So connecting with other people. But two is creating conversations around a certain clip. So say like there's a clip that talks about like how to do a podcast with how to get really amazing guests on your podcast, right? And it gives you like a nice clip, and so therefore there's a like conversation around that where there's a thread. But we want to have like these audio clips as well, so like the responses are also audio, and so that kind of thing that we as we start launching, that we really want to create that, because we want to really create conversations around these 30-second clips, right? Which I don't think anybody else has. Like on TikTok, there's all these threads around like a funny video, but for us, it'll be around these like 30-second clips of awesomeness from podcasts.
Yeah, creating the conversation is always the tough part, right? When you have, but the cool thing is when you add the heading, when you add the subtitles. See, here's the thing that's amazing about adding subtitles to your video clips. Most people, 80% of the videos that people watch as they're streaming, they watch in silence, right? Because you have a spouse next to you that's probably looking at something else. You have a kid around you, or maybe you're in a public setting or whatever it is. So you're watching a lot of content, and you're watching video content. You're just not necessarily hearing it. So if you have a video clip that you're putting out and it doesn't have subtitles, it's not going to get the same response rate as if it has subtitles and a catchy heading. So you're already taking the time to do the subtitles. Is that something that's going to be added to your feature as well, so that it automatically pulls it?
Yeah. So we're adding that also within the next week, is adding the subtitles as well, for sure.
Because that's a huge chunk. That's a huge difference right there for us to be changing up. All right. Well, let me ask you this. We got all kinds of cool stuff that we like to run in the show, right? Things
Dude, I almost had you.
Little video clips like that where we can just throw stuff in, because again, the key thing for us is always the editing time. I know that there's so many people. A stat that I used to talk about a lot right before COVID was there was 1 million podcasts, and half of those podcasts had 14 episodes or less. Now with COVID, I don't know what the numbers are, but I'm sure it's dramatically changed. There are way more people who have started podcasts. I wonder how many of them kept going because they realized that the work is difficult. What do you think about that?
No, actually, I have the answer. And I have the answer because this morning I actually interviewed the VP of partnerships for Libsyn. Right. And, Libsyn is one of probably the biggest, or if not one of the biggest platforms for podcasting. And he said that the amount of content or podcast content that during COVID actually doubled during COVID because everybody was at home and everybody's like people have time and like, okay, well, now I'm at home. What should I do? I should start a podcast, right? So now whether they're successful or not, that's obviously, like a big question mark. But there's been what he said is there has been a massive growth in terms of the amount of new podcasts that it's actually doubled during COVID. And he said it's seen an amazing and like explosive growth in terms of the sort of like content creation. So which is great for, in this case for us, because there's a lot more sort of people for us to target. And therefore, that's what we're trying to solve because, as we talked about, you launch a podcast and then the biggest thing is, okay, how do I grow it, right? Because that's the biggest thing. You want to say, okay, if I'm getting 5 or 10 downloads per episode, well, that's small, but it'd be super awesome if I could get 200 downloads per episode as opposed to 10 downloads per episode. And then that's where all the kind of like social media and inviting good guests. And then, as you guys know, obviously having your guests, which is, you guys sent me an email about this, before the closure, add us here, which I did. But having your guests share, right? And one of the easiest ways to do that is making it really easy. But, you're sharing, if your guest just, sharing like the whole podcast with, that's kind of hard, or a link, that's fine. But if you can share that 30-second clip, that makes it really easy because it's your guest talking, right? So that's all.
I'm your huckleberry.
That's right.
I would say I've never been on I've been on StreamYard before, but the way you guys use these videos is awesome. We hadn't even thought about that for Fiesta, but that is very cool, and you guys use that really well. So
I gave it a 10.
You guys have so many of them. I was just laughing at
well, that's one of the things, right? Because let's face it, everything, and this is some little back end producer type stuff, right? But everything from us having the ability to switch the screens like this, right? Us having the ability to move things around, it keeps the attention of the listener, or actually the viewer, a little bit more. The reason why we do things like this,
I surrender to your will,
is merely to keep that attention, right? Is to keep people's focus where it needs to be. If it's an audio, right? If somebody's listening to the show, that's great too. They get those clips and in between things, but the viewer gets something as well when they're seeing a lot of this interaction, a lot of this movement.
But I have a question, right? So I personally really like it, right? And obviously our platform doesn't have that yet, but I think it's super cool. But I've already done quite a few sort of interviews. I've been talking to a lot of podcasters, and I haven't been in podcasting for that long, right? But I had never seen anybody who was using all these sort of sound effects. So in terms of sort of like mass adoption, are you guys seeing, and I think it's really cool, but sometimes you can say, hey, this is really cool, but almost no one's using it, right? But it's a very cool feature, but not very widely adopted. So I would say that is my question to you guys. Is a lot of other people, are a lot of other people using this? Because I haven't really seen that, but it is very cool.
Yeah, it is very cool. And I think it's like anything else. Nobody has told them that you can. Right. So on the back end in StreamYard, when we're using it, the way I found out is there's it says, overlays that you can put in here. So an overlay, how you can put things over the pictures. Right. Mm-hmm. And so there's a little icon right next to it, which is the question mark. And if you actually hover over the question mark, it gives you a description of what you can put in here. And I think most people don't read a lot of these descriptions. They don't know that, when you put a background in, you have the opportunity to use a GIF file. So it gives you the ability to drop a background that is moving, right? And that's again, those are additional little features like that I just think people, if they had the opportunity, if they had the training, if they had somebody to hold their hand, they would use it more often. Because
I didn't think you had it in you.
Yeah, and you're right. A lot of people don't use it live on the show like that. But what you do see is YouTube videos with a lot of clips like that. That means somebody had to go in and post edit and add a lot of these clips as they go along. All we did was say, look, I don't have time for the post edit. Let's see what we can do on the live show.
But question, all these are already like clips that StreamYard gives you, or you have to go and pull them in and then you have your library, or there's already
we go and pull them in and then we have our library.
Oh, but like this is not a library that StreamYard does. You guys
No.
created a library.
We created our own library.
Ah, okay. That's probably why most people are not doing it, because it's you guys created this awesome library, and not StreamYard didn't give you this library. You guys created it.
We created our own.
Ah,
There is at least one podcast that I know of. It's SX Business Radio. We had him on the show, Elliot Brown, and I was tuning into one of their shows not too long ago, and he was using it.
Because once you know that it's there, and here's the thing, I think it has to be more like a seasoned podcaster, right? Because somebody who's new to the space is just barely getting used to the technology. Right. They're worried about, did I plug in my microphone? Like, what question am I going to ask? Did I hit the record button? Right? Their mind is there, but once they get that dialed in, then they want to know, how do I step it up? Now they start thinking, while they're listening to their guests, they're thinking, man, my images don't look that great. How do I add something here? How do I do this? What if I can add some sound? What if I can add some, and then you start getting into different things, right? Because you can easily get like a Rodecaster, for example, and now you can build in audio, or you can plug in your phone and make phone calls, right? So you can interview people over the phone, or you can have a video library like this. So you start adding things as you become more of a seasoned podcaster. That's why I really liked what you had right off the bat, because it was so simple to get a clip. It was one push of a button.
Yeah, but I really like this because for these short clips that we're doing, I think part of it is like, okay, how do we make it exciting for people? And so there's the cool element where somebody's like say something, pretend I just said something really interesting about how I built one of my companies. We used a lot of influencers, and that was a game changer when we really sort of tapped into all these like pressure cooker influencers for my food media kitchen appliance company. And then right away, after that, people are like, like that, right? That kind of stuff. So being able to add that into the video clips, and therefore that people are using doing that for the Instagram, especially on the Instagram, I think is a cool feature that would probably actually I'm gonna go for on Fiesta, because I was thinking okay, how do I make these clips really interesting? And I think you guys just solved that answer. But the interesting thing is StreamYard doesn't really offer that that they give it to you. You guys went and pull these clips. So for us, if we all of a sudden have we go and pull it for people and we say, hey, here's a list of 50 clips that you can use. And here they're ready. And then as people start getting sort of comfortable, this wow kind of thing, I like it. Yeah, I like it. I already
Today, Junior.
That's what they wanted, right? They wanted today.
This podcast already proved massively insightful for the next Fiesta feature, 100%.
Well, good, man. That's what I'm talking about. We also take royalties.
Yeah, you're like Bernardo, when you sell your company for 500 million to Spotify, please send it.
Exactly. I mean, it just makes the show. It really does make the show funner because the guest can never really expect it or see it coming. And then James and I. And here's the other thing: James and I have a unique situation where we're actually brothers, right? So he usually knows where I'm going with whatever sentence I'm talking about. And when he knows where I'm going to go, he's already prepared. He's already looking at the clip and he's like, oh, this is going to be a good one. I know where he's going to go with that. And then he'll just drop a clip. And that, I think that understanding between, show host and producer, I do the same thing when I'm the producer side on his show. I know where he's going with the clip. I mean, he could be talking about, oh man, this restaurant is so amazing, blah, blah, blah. And
Get in my belly.
That's it, right? And that's it. It's just whatever that moment calls for. And once you get used to having that arsenal there, then it's kind of cool because you just have your go-to clips. You don't have to have so many, but you have your go-to clips. So if you're going to provide a library of stuff like that, that would be amazing. Because for me, it's always been about user friendly, right? Let me show you how to do this as easy as possible, so that you can go off and your show looks like a professionally produced show, and it's you by yourself.
Right.
Well, how about when you talk about content creation and growing your business, how has content creation helped you in your prior two businesses?
Yeah, so I would say in the the beauty company, we didn't do that much content creation. That was just like straight up Amazon play. And it was just, sometimes it's like right place at the right time. And we just kept launching product after product after product because it was literally like the right time to get into Amazon. It's kind of like, doing Google ads in 2016. We're doing Facebook ads in 2012, 2013, that kind of stuff where it was kind of like really just the right place at the right time. So I would say for that, but for the food media and kitchen appliance company, that's why I say food media, which was a meal feed, that one I sold 2 months ago. That one was a massive content play, and that's one of the reasons I liked it. And was the massive content play because we had the recipes, and so one of the things obviously it was the website because like allrecipes.com gets about 100 million visitors a month. Because people are looking for recipes, and you have Food Network and Epicurious. So we say, okay, there's a massive SEO play here, and you're not, like fighting for scraps. You're fighting for like massive, right? Because in like other industries, it's like, okay, well, beauty, companies and that, like in terms of content, they're getting maybe like 1 million visitors, that kind of stuff. But with recipes, it was just massive. So that was one. And two, the other big content play was the app, right? There's the recipe apps are the third most used apps. So number one is obviously social media apps, which is Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, LinkedIn, TikTok. Number two is definitely transportation apps. Well, obviously before COVID, right? Uber and Lyft. But obviously that has changed. And number three was recipe apps, right? So recipes, so massive amount. So there was massive amount of like play, and that's why I said it depends on the industry. But there was really a big opportunity for SEO because massive search. And really big opportunity for the app, which was all, recipe based. And now you could add this recipe. So you'd buy the product. And the first thing that people would ask, as soon as they buy the pressure cooker is like, okay, where are the recipes? And so all over the box would be like, download the app. We have over 500 recipes, and we had over like 300 videos, like each 300 recipes with a video, like those hands and pans, like that move really fast, the hands. And you're like, in 1 minute, you're like, okay, I see how it is. I see what I need to do to cook it, right? So that one was a really massive sort of content play that worked really well. And of course, you have the products. So the beauty was just all Amazon. The food, media, and kitchen appliance was products. Then really go heavy on SEO, and then really go heavy on the app. As well, right?
Because once you had, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's because once you had those users that purchased the product and download the app, that app allowed you to resell to them on a regular basis, new products, new services, whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like if they bought one product, then through the app, we push them and say, hey, buy the glass kettle, buy the immersion blender, buy the pans, buy the crisp plate. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So that totally helps. Yeah. Because I mean, that's one of the things that I think differentiates successful podcasters and not successful podcasters is the ability for a podcast to collect data, right? So you're in the business of providing valuable information, whether it's through your content or through lead magnets or whatever you're giving out. But the goal here is to collect data, right? You want to collect as much emails, phone numbers, that sort of stuff, so that you can sell them a product, but not just one time, continuously sell them products time over time, which is bringing value. How much emphasis do you guys put into data collection?
For Fiesta, well, I mean, like a good amount. The only thing is, I would say, since we just launched. But we have, for the app, we use a mix panel. And then for the website, we have, some good tracking. But I definitely think that, as we sort of start getting a lot of users, because we literally just launched this week, that it'll pick up. But I don't think we're quite there yet, because right now we're really focused on, user acquisition. And then at one point, as we start growing, and probably in about 4 or 5 weeks, it'll be like, okay, let's really make sure that we're capturing the right data based on kind of like the users. So one step at a time, but yeah, for sure.
Bernardo, I'm excited, dude. I'm telling you, when I left talking to you the last time, I was pumped. I came over to James. I was like, dude, this is going to be the next one. Watch. He's got it down. He's making it easy. Everything that you can do to make it easier for podcasters to create small pieces of content from their long form content. And if you can make it, as entertaining like this,
Fine by me.
And that's exactly what they'll say, right? They'll be like, I'll definitely move over. Fine by me. I will definitely move over.
Yeah. As soon as you said the click the highlight button and it copies the last minute. I was like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I remember this. I remember this story.
And that's huge, man. So tell the audience here, where can they go to get the app, and any pertinent information that you have here at the end.
They can just go to our website. There's fiesta.app, fiesta.app. And of course, on the App Store, it's on iOS and on Android. And you will just find it if you just put Fiesta Podcast. It'll pop up. So yeah. And
awesome.
Then if you want to reach out to me, best way to do that is on LinkedIn DM, or Instagram DM. That's the best way.
Perfect. And I'm going to offer my services to you, Mr. Bernardo. If you have any questions as far as what we're doing, or what, any opinions on podcasting, I'm here to help, man. I would love to watch you create something that's super awesome.
Honestly, I do. I have an ask from you guys. I would really like to see kind of because I've never used StreamYard from me sort of creating, but I would like to see kind of what the back end looks like, and where you guys have all the clips, and sort of how all that is structured. So would love to see that, at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. As you know what, I'm just gonna do it right now. Why not, ladies and gents?
Live on the show.
It looks like here we go.
Here it comes.
You're gonna see my application window. All right, so this is what it looks like on the back of our end. Don't worry about the infinite screen that goes on here. Pay attention to the right side over here. So here's what the StreamYard platform looks like. We have comments, so we can highlight any comment that we like, throw it right there on the screen. Right, sounds like a great app. The other part is the banner section. So this is all the stuff, like, for example, on Thursdays, we put out that one, SHIT, so happy it's Thursday, but we can customize it or even add the ticker at the bottom. So Insurance Bro Ham is no longer, it's now the Insurance Bro Show, but the same number applies, right? The same number applies, 877-928-994 if you are interested in insurance policy. And then, of course, how we highlight your content right here, right, Bernardo? So that's the banner section. Then there's the brand section. The brand section allows us to change the color or the way the names look, and we can change the color to any color we like. We can add our logos to the upper right hand corner to give it that overlay look. It gives us an overlay section, so we can add different overlays that we want to throw up on the screen at any given time. Right?
I love that. I'm just like watching the
multiple
image echo.
Then here are the video clips, right? So before it used to be in the overlay section, they renamed it recently to video clips, but you were able to open up the little menu right there, and that's where it tells you can put in video clips in this section. Now they named it video clips, so everybody knows, but prior, maybe like a few weeks ago, it was still called overlays, and people didn't know that you can do that. So this is where we have our library of clips, right? So they're named exactly what they are.
You can't handle the truth.
Boom. Those are the video clips. And so we have a ton of video clips that we've decided to pull, and we use them whenever we want. And then, of course, the background. So we can change the background at any given time to whatever we want, including GIF files. So if you want to change it and add some flames or whatever you want, you can go ahead and do that. And so that's about it on there. Then we have the private chat. That's where the guests can talk to each other or whoever's on the show. Down here at the bottom, we have different ways to view this particular profile. I can go with one person. I can do the 3 screen if I want. I can go the wide screen if I want. I'm allowed to move the camera angles in any direction that I like. And we have this other view that we've been using more frequently. We can even do the share screen here on the side. We can do the share screen a little bit larger, and we can do the full share screen if that's what we wanted to do. So those are the basic features for StreamYard. They work really, really well for what we're doing. And the only thing they don't have, which you really do have, is a way to make our clips or make our content in a small bite-sized format.
Right. But yes, I see they have a lot of really cool functionality. That is,
I know your brain is just turning right now.
I can tell.
Oh my god!
Whoa,
this is gonna be awesome.
One of the things, like my brain was thinking is that on the video newsfeed, right, that you could actually, as a user, because I do think some people would find these clips annoying, especially if you're listening to them. Like you can listen to like the clips. The whole idea is that you could, if you're putting the clips on, that you can close out the app and just listen to it like a podcast. So like these 30-second ideas, right? But if some of them, like, you might be listening to some and then like you can't handle the truth, and like, okay, this might be annoying. but where you could actually turn those on. And so we would just have a setting where you'd be like off, and it was just like every single video, like it has the like these small like 2 or 3 second like insert clips. It's disabled for every single video, right? But if you put it on, right, if the person who created the video added those so that it's on, but there's a way to disable them. But from a content perspective, because some people will be like, listen, I just want the 30-second ideas. Don't give me all these like this extra funny stuff. But I think a lot of people would really like it. So if we make it in a way where just like we give you the option of like remove that for everything. I just want to consume my content, just the clips, and that's it. Or I want to consume my content and just like have fun. So we'd have to do it in a way that is either on for everything or off for everything for all the videos, right? So I think that would be really interesting. And if you have it all on, and then you can grab the video with a sort of clip, and then you post it to all these social platforms, it makes it very fun. But then you can also, for a lot of people who like, listen, like I don't want to play with this thing. You're playing too much. We can just give them straight up the clips. So that's what I'm thinking. And if we can pull that off, I think that would be a really awesome feature, because then the people who are just serious about just the content, we can give it to them. But then the people who we need to, like the younger generation, who we want to make this fun for, and you're like, oh, this is actually like, it's like TikTok, but where I really learn, and it's actually fun, right? And now it's not funny video. It's not like these like every video is like a dumb, or not like dumb, but like funny. This is like informative, and then it has this like 2 or 3 second thing that just makes you laugh, right? And it's like, okay, that kind of thing. So that's
here's the thing about your mind. I can see as soon as I showed you that, I can see clearly that your mind was going in multiple places. And the thing about it is you have that background in being able to develop stuff like that, but there is honestly like an infinite number of things that we would love as podcasters, right? We're like, oh, it'd be cool if we did this. It'd be cool if we did this. It'd be cool if we did this. But eventually we got to really narrow down and focus your attention on, well, these are the key things, right? So it's like you said earlier, there are, 10 different things, but maybe 3 of them are a must, and the other ones are cherries on top, right?
Yeah,
the extra icing on the cake.
Yeah. Because there's always features, and I've obviously seen this in app. There's always features that are like, oh, that's really cool. You release it, and almost no one uses it, and you're like, oh, right.
Well,
so
maybe it wasn't as cool as I thought.
Yeah, you're like, well, maybe it was cool for me, but it's just, or just like it's just cool, but it's just not something that people are using. It's just, and that happens quite a bit with apps, right? Where people are like, oh, that's a great idea. Like I would totally use that, but then people actually don't use it. So that's what you got to be really careful with apps, for sure.
Well, Bernardo, it's been an amazing conversation. I knew it would be as soon as you booked this last minute spot. So ladies and gents, just a quick reminder, if you guys want to be on the show, we book out 8 weeks in advance to be a guest on the Business Bros podcast, but we do have a last minute list. So if you would like to be a guest, go to businessbros.biz/last minute. And just like Bernardo here, he got an email. He was the first one to respond, locked in the last minute opening. And here we are sharing with you guys the opportunities that Fiesta App has to offer. So thank you, Bernardo, very much for coming on the show, man, and sharing with us what you got going on. Check out Fiesta App. It's just fiesta.app, and grab it, test it, play with it. I'm sure Bernardo would love feedback on what's going on. Share, use it and have fun, man. Create content, build your brand, build your business. Bernardo, thank you for being on the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Hernan and James. Just one quick thing. So you guys are brothers?
Actual brothers, yep.
Oh, awesome. How come James got all the hair?
Right? That's good. James got all the hair, but I got the height.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's all right. I'm still the handsome one. But I just realized I know which clip we need. We need a Kelso. Burn!
Yep, we need that clip. We gotta grab that clip for sure.
We're gonna have to get that clip now.
All right, ladies and gents.
Have a nice day.
You guys today. Peace.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you guys.
And we're out.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the business bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@csfirst.com to schedule a free consultation or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.